For next week, we are going to do something very different. Next week, I've made a decision, no homework, for JavaScript The Weird Parts and for Free Code Camp. But what this means is what you're going to need to do for week 10 is you have to come up with what you want to first build. Okay, so DIY, so do your own homework. Find out, determine 3 functions or features you want to build into your app site. Find examples for inspiration from YouTube or Googling in general, right? For your homework directory, create a file called Day19, and then in it, use the normal CSS formatting and talk about maybe code samples and tell me what you will build in detail. Make sure you include your content for what you need to learn to accomplish this feature. So that'll be your homework. So you're going to come up with your own homework. And then I know, big shock, for classwork, then you'll actually do that. Okay? So then for classwork, that's what you will do, is you'll actually build that thing that you've come up with. And we're going to do this for both days. So you come up with what you want to build into your app, you talk about it in detail, and then you implement for each classwork that specific feature or function that you want in your app. So like for me, and it doesn't have to be high end. Like right now I'm working on my menuing system and the way I want it to work, right? So one thing that I know I want to work on, and I kind of have an idea already, is that when my users come here, right, and they click log on, I want the actual log on content. First, right now I have it like this, where it just shows the log on, right? So I want it where it actually just puts that form right between the existing div, so that it just pops in right there, right? So that's the kind of stuff I know for sure I want to start working on, and then also to have an object that I build that for my user is successful, that it actually builds an object that starts displaying their data. So that's another thing I know I definitely want to work on. So I'm going to do this too. I'm going to develop 3 features that I want to work on, and then we'll do a, we could talk about what those are. But at this point, you've learned enough to be able to build something. So it's time to build something, because that's really what this class is about, is building stuff, right? So first, does that make sense? Yeah, Steven. I would want it to be a function that your interface would accomplish. That's a great question. So these guys not in the classroom didn't hear that. So Stephen asked a great question. In this case, would it be something that's behind the scenes, more of a cleanup? By the way, I think that's a good idea to do anyway. But what I would really want is some kind of user interface that you're handling through JavaScript. Okay? That's a great question. So something, and change your user interface if you want. You could do that too. It wouldn't take a lot of JavaScript. You could also just do some stuff that has the UI elements, and then you have JavaScript doing something. It doesn't have to be sophisticated, right? It just has to be something you want to include in your app that you haven't done yet, right? So it's really the part of this class that's really the most important for you to walk away with, which is the idea of actually building stuff. Okay, because you have enough skill now, you have enough exposure to code, even if you don't know exactly the thing to go build it, by identifying it, and maybe us talking collectively, we could say head in that direction. That's where I think you want to go with that. Like you and I do, like you and I and a couple of you do around those topics. So, great question. Anybody else have a question? First, does this sound fun? Who thinks this sounds fun? Who thinks this sounds like more work than I'm already doing for this class? Maybe. Yeah, it depends, right? Depends on what you decide to take on, right? So that's why I give you 3. So get 3 for each day. So for Tuesday and then for Thursday, you'll build your own homework, and then you will actually go build that thing that you want to know how to do, or that you want to implement. Okay. All right.